Hi, this is Apollos and welcome back to another edition of ArchiCad Monkey. So this time we're getting a bit deeper into ArchiCad and going step by step on how to create a simple building so you can understand the practical use of the tools provided. Okay, here's simple building in ArchiCad. So this is a simple building we're aiming to create. Nothing very exciting, but a good start, especially for this kickstart lesson in ArchiCad. We'll go through the general tools and actions to create this residential building, starting off from probably one of the most essential pieces of any building, the walls. Let's first start ArchiCad up. Select Create a New Project, leave the ArchiCad 13 template, and choose Standard Profile for the work environment. Right, so first on the top left you'll find the Wall tool from the toolbox. When you select it, the info box will adapt to the general wall settings. From the geometry method, we can select the drawing method we prefer: single, chained, rectangular, rotated, curved, or polygonal. Select the chain method by pressing and holding the mouse button while navigating to the chained wall button, and then activate the left construction method. And go back to the floor plan view. Click once to make the first endpoint, and move to the right about 10 meters, or as shown 10,000 millimeters. Usually, you can see how far you've gone from the last point with the help of the tracker that follows the cursor when drawing. You can show or hide the tracker from the standard toolbar. To accurately input the distance, just type 10,000 and enter. Move downwards for 10 more meters, then aim the wall towards the left for 6, and then up for 5. Now instead of typing the distance, hold the Shift key while on the horizontal axis and move your cursor to the starting point. You'll know you're there when the pencil cursor turns black. Click once, and when the cursor turns into the hammer symbol, click on the starting point again to close the shape. As described briefly in the previous episode, when you draw a wall in ArchiCad, you usually draw it in 2D, visually only perceiving the wall outline and the hatching inside of it. But at the same time, it automatically is created in the 3D world, visible directly from the 3D window button, or by pressing F3, or Fn and F3 if you're on a MacBook or MacBook Pro like me. Let's go back to the floor plan by either closing the 3D window or click the floor plan button next to the 3D window button, or F2. Next, we'll edit the walls from the wall settings to configure the details. Select the arrow tool and click on one of the walls. As you can see, all 4 of them are highlighted in green, meaning they're selected. This is because we drew these walls as a group using the chained wall. It makes it simpler to move and edit them as a whole. If we wanted to edit one of the walls within the group, we would have to suspend the group temporarily by clicking on the Suspend Groups button in the standard toolbar. Or alternatively, go to Edit, Grouping, Suspend Groups, or simply Option G. Now we can press Escape to deselect the walls, and you can select the walls individually. Though at the moment we want to edit all of them, so click the Suspend Groups button again, and you'll see them all selected. Now go to the Settings dialog button in the info box. Here you have some collapsible tabs about different wall settings, from the height, the width, the view settings, and the wall materials. At the bottom of the dialog, it displays the layer the current wall is placed on by default. It's worth noting that this is a major difference from basic AutoCAD, as there you have to create each layer first and then place elements on the relevant ones. Here in ArchiCAD, all the general layers you are usually going to need are already there. And as the wall is an aware element, it is placed straight on the structural bearing layer. We'll get into the details of all the layers in the later show. Moving on swiftly, we can change the height to 3000 at the top left and adjust the materials in the Model tab. Now if the link button is pressed down as it is now, all the wall materials, interior, fill, and exterior, will be linked. But I want to have different ones at the moment, so click the link button and select, I'll say, surf stucco for the interior, surf poured concrete for the fill material, and maybe wood siding light for the exterior material for now. Right, that's the basic shape for the ground floor, but as we're designing a 2-story building, we'll add some more walls on the floor above. The easiest way to do it is to select the 4 walls, edit and copy, or Command-C. Double-click on the one.story in the project map of the navigator, Alternatively, go to View, Navigate, Stories, and go to Story. Then go to Edit and Paste, or Command V. Now you'll see the four walls appear with a marching ants outline as it's commonly referred to. Click anywhere outside the outline to complete the action. Go to the arrow button at the top of the toolbox. Select the two walls on the left. Whoops, let's suspend the groups again. Escape, and now select them again. Press the backspace button to delete them, or right-click and select Delete. Now select the adjoining wall and find the circle endpoint at the wall's edge. When the cursor turns into a check mark, click on it and the pet palette will appear. The pet palette is a floating tab of icons which usually pops up when editing an element. The buttons represent certain commands and options which adapt to the individual element, or the part of the element you're creating or editing. If you hover over each button of the palette, it displays the name of the command. Select the stretch command to lengthen the wall until it touches the other one, and the cursor shows the perpendicular symbol, and click. Now with the same wall selected, hold down the Command key, or Control key for PC users, and hover over the remaining wall on the left until the cursor shows the black scissors, and click to trim the wall. Both walls clean up perfectly to create a corner edge. Now right-click on the ground floor of the project map and choose Show as Trace Reference to display the lower floor as an underlay essentially. So now let's see how it looks in 3D. Click the 3D window button. You can see the walls of the two stories, but there's a little gap in between them. We can fix that by editing the story settings. Either go to Design and Story Settings, or right-click on one of the floors in the project map. Stories separate elements into different vertical levels to which they belong. They're typically used for drawing separate floor plans for each floor of a multi-story structure. They can also be used for separating site and roof plans that have a vertical 3D relationship. In the Story Settings window, you can define the height and elevation of every floor in relation to the rest, as well as the name of each floor. As we've already made the walls 3 meters high, we want the elevation of each floor to reflect that. So edit the height to next to 3000 in each row. You'll see the elevation of each floor automatically adjusts. Click OK, and you'll see the two floors are joined now. Right, let's move on to working on the floors, or in ArchiCad terms, the slabs. So let's go to the first floor. Select the slab tool from the toolbox, choose the rectangular construction method, click once in the inner top left corner when the cursor shows the check mark, and again in the bottom right where it shows the black filled pencil. It may not seem like anything happened, but move the cursor to the interior of the building, hold Shift, and the cursor turns into the quick selection magnet. Click and the slab we just created is highlighted. Switch to the ground floor. Now this is where some magic happens. Instead of tracing around the walls to create a slab, which is perfectly alright to do, we're going to be efficiently lazy. Hold the spacebar, and the cursor turns into the magic wand. And move the cursor to the exterior wall line until it shows the magic wand with the edges symbol, and click. So you can draw slabs in the floor plan, just like we did, or even in 3D. On the floor plan, it's not very obvious where they are, as only the outline is shown. On the other hand, in the 3D view, you can see the materials of the slab. Each surface, top, fill, or bottom, can have a different material, or just like the walls, they can be linked to the same one.